At my son's graduation, my ex-wife stood up. Thank you to everyone who supported him, especially his real father. She pointed to her new husband. My son nodded, smiling. I started to leave. Then the dean called my name to the stage. That's when everything changed. The auditorium had 2,000 people. Every single one of them heard her. I want to thank everyone who supported Kyle through these incredible 4 years, Lisa said into the microphone. Her voice amplified across MIT's Kresge Auditorium. His professors, his friends, his family. She paused for effect. Smiled that smile I used to love, back when it was meant for me. But most of all, I want to thank Richard. Richard has been the father Kyle deserved. The one who showed up, the one who cared. Richard stood up from his seat in the third row, premium seating, the kind reserved for major donors and distinguished guests. He waved to the crowd with his characteristic humility, that aw-shucks grin that made people think he was just a regular guy who happened to have made it big in software development. The crowd clapped politely, scattered applause that rippled through the graduating class of 2024 and their families. Kyle was beaming at them from his position on stage with the other student speakers. 18 years old. No, wait, he just turned 22 last month. How did that happen? In his cap and gown, holding his summa cum laude accord like it was made of gold. My son, and he didn't even glance my way. I was in the back. Row 47, seat 12. I'd arrived late because my shift at the hospital ran over, a 16-year-old car accident victim who needed 3 hours of surgery, and by the time I got here, the only seats left were the ones nobody wanted. I grabbed my jacket from where I'd draped it over the seat back. My hands were shaking, not from nerves, from rage, from 18 years of swallowing words. I wanted to scream. Some men just aren't cut out for fatherhood, Lisa added, and I could hear the venom even through her sweet tone. They make promises they can't keep. They choose their careers over their children. But Richard showed Kyle what it means to be a real dad. More applause. Louder this time. I stood up, started edging past the other parents in my row, mumbling apologies, trying to get to the aisle before I did something I'd regret. Like stand up and scream the truth. Like tell everyone in this auditorium that I'd worked 80-hour weeks for 18 years to pay for the life Lisa was now crediting to Richard. Wait, the dean's voice boomed through the speakers. Before we continue, I have a special announcement. I kept walking, almost to the aisle now. Would Mr. David Chen please come to the stage? I froze, my foot suspended mid-step. David Chen, are you here? 2,000 people started looking around, murmuring, who's David Chen? Never heard of him. My sister Emily grabbed my arm from where she was sitting 2 seats over. She'd come with me for moral support, had held my hand during Lisa's speech, had whispered, that bitch, under her breath, when Lisa started in on the deadbeat dad narrative. Go, Emily hissed. David, go. I walked down the aisle. Every step felt like miles, like walking through concrete. Lisa's smile faltered when she saw me approaching the stage. Her face went from triumphant to confused to something that might have been fear, all in the space of 3 seconds. The dean, Dr. Margaret Foster, 58 years old, 23 years at MIT, 3 published books on engineering education, met me at the stairs, shook my hand with both of hers. Ladies and gentlemen, she said into the microphone, I want to recognize someone extraordinary, someone whose contributions to this institution have been nothing short of transformative. Kyle looked confused, squinting at me like he was trying to remember where he'd seen me before. Richard's face had gone red, that telltale flush that started at his collar and worked its way up. He knew. Of course he knew. This university has a new engineering wing, Dr. Foster continued, the Chen Innovation Center. Some of you may have noticed it under construction over the past 2 years. State-of-the-art facilities, advanced laboratories, collaborative workspaces designed specifically for the next generation of engineers. The screen behind her lit up. A building appeared. Glass and steel. Modern. Beautiful. I'd never actually seen it completed. This facility was made possible by an anonymous donation of $5 million. Gasps rippled through the crowd. People started whispering, who would donate $5 million? Must be a tech billionaire. Maybe someone from the board. The donor requested that his contribution remain anonymous, Dr. Foster said. But today, with his permission, I'm revealing his identity. She turned to me. David Chen funded this building, working as a cardiothoracic surgeon, taking every available shift, working double and triple duty for 3 years to make it happen. Lisa's mouth fell open. Actually fell open, like a cartoon character. But that's not all. Dr. Foster was enjoying this. I could see it in her eyes. Mr. Chen also established the Chen Scholarship Fund, full tuition, room, and board for 50 students every single year, prioritizing students from underserved communities who demonstrate exceptional promise in STEM fields. The audience erupted. Standing ovation, 2,000 people on their feet. I stood there feeling exposed, vulnerable. This wasn't what I wanted. I'd specifically requested anonymity, but Dr. Foster had called me 3 days ago, had said there was something I needed to know, had asked permission to make this announcement. I'd said yes, without understanding what I was agreeing to. Kyle Chen is one of those scholarship recipients, Dr. Foster continued over the applause. His father made sure of it, made sure his son could attend MIT without the burden of student loans, without the crushing debt that destroys so many young lives. Kyle's face went white, chalk white. In total, Mr. Chen's contribution contributions to this institution exceed $8 million. The applause got louder. Richard sat down hard, like his legs had given out. Lisa was crying now, but they weren't sad tears. They were angry tears, furious tears, the tears of someone whose carefully constructed narrative was disintegrating in real time. "I don't understand," Kyle said into his microphone, his voice cracking. "Dad, you never told me because he asked us not to," Dr. Foster said gently. "He didn't want recognition, didn't want credit. He just wanted to ensure that his son and students like him would have every opportunity to succeed." She handed me the microphone. The weight of it in my hand felt like the weight of 18 years. I looked at Kyle, really looked at him. He had my eyes, my chin, my hands, long fingers, surgeon's hands, though he'd chosen computer science instead of medicine. "You said Richard paid for college?" My voice came out steadier than I felt. "I did, every penny. 4 years at MIT, $283,000 in tuition, room, and board." Kyle's legs wobbled. Someone, a faculty member maybe, brought him a chair. He sat down hard. "The apartment you live in off campus? I co-signed the lease. Paid the security deposit? Paid the first 6 months rent while you got settled? Your car? The Honda Accord you drive? I bought it. Cash. Gave the title to your mother to give to you. She told you Richard bought it. But Mom said—" Kyle's voice was barely audible. "Your mother cashed my checks and told you they came from Richard." The crowd went silent. You could hear people breathing. Lisa stood up. "That's not David. That's not fair. I have receipts." I pulled my phone from my pocket. Had everything backed up. 18 years of documentation. Every single payment, every check, every wire transfer, every tuition installment, time-stamped, dated, saved. Richard tried to pull Lisa down by her arm. She shook him off violently enough that people nearby flinched. "The child support that supposedly stopped when you turned 16? I looked at Kyle. "It never stopped. $3,000 a month. Every month. From the day your mother and I divorced when you were 4 years old until last month when you turned 22. That's 18 years. $648,000. Someone in the audience gasped. "You're lying," Lisa hissed. "You're making this up. You're trying to ruin this day." Dr. Foster held up a folder, thick, legal-sized. "We verified everything, Mrs. Patterson. When Mr. Chen made his donation to the university, we conducted standard due diligence, background checks, financial verification. We discovered the scholarship fund he'd established in his son's name. When we started asking questions, the full picture emerged." Lisa's face crumbled, started to cave in on itself. "Why didn't you tell me?" Kyle whispered. "Why didn't you? All these years I thought you didn't care. I thought you'd abandoned us." Mom said, "I know what your mother said." My voice broke. Couldn't help it. "Because you were happy. Because every time I saw you, at those supervised visits when you were little, at the awkward lunches when you got older, at the birthdays you let me attend, you were smiling. You were thriving. And I thought that's what you needed. I thought if you believed Richard was your real father, if you believed he was the one providing for you, you'd have the stability I couldn't give you. But you were giving it to me." Richard was there when I couldn't be. I looked at Richard. He wouldn't meet my eyes. When I missed birthdays because I was in surgery. When I missed baseball games because I was working a 72-hour shift. When I missed school plays because I was at a medical conference trying to advance my career so I could make more money to support you. Richard went to those things, and you deserve to have someone there. Richard looked at his shoes. Italian leather. Probably cost more than my monthly car payment. "But don't you ever—" I turned to Lisa. "Ever tell my son I didn't care. Don't you dare stand on this stage in front of 2,000 people and erase me. Don't you dare call me a deadbeat when I've given everything I have to make sure Kyle had every opportunity." My hands were shaking again. Dr. Foster steadied me with a hand on my elbow. "The Chen Innovation Center has one more feature," she said, taking back the microphone. "Something Mr. Chen requested specifically." She clicked a remote. The screen changed. A plaque appeared. Bronze. Beautiful. Mounted in the main lobby of the new building. The inscription read, "For Kyle, my son, my pride, my everything. May you build a future as bright as you've made my life, Dad." Kyle made a choking sound, put his face in his hands. His shoulders shook. "There's one more thing," I said, taking the microphone back. My voice was steady now, strong. 18 years of swallowing words had ended. "Lisa, you gave a beautiful speech about Richard being the father Kyle deserved, about him showing up." She was frozen, staring at me like I was a stranger. Maybe I was. Maybe the David she'd divorced. Young, overwhelmed, working 100-hour weeks at a residency program while trying to be a father. Maybe that David was gone. "You're right," I continued. "He showed up to games, to birthday parties, to school events. He was there, physically present." I pulled up my photo gallery, started scrolling. "Want to know where I was?" I held up my phone, started showing photos on the screen behind me. Dr. Foster had connected my phone to the projection system without me noticing. Pictures of me at my desk, at the hospital, in scrubs, in my office at 2 a.m., at 3 a.m., at 4 a.m. Timestamps visible on every photo. Working, so Kyle could have those parties. So Richard could afford to show up with the $3,000 I sent every single month. Lisa's face went purple, actually purple. "You stood on this stage and called me a deadbeat, in front of 2,000 people, in front of my colleagues. Yes, I have colleagues here. MIT collaborates with Mass General on cardiac research. In front of my son. You told everyone I wasn't cut out for fatherhood." I looked at the crowd. crowd, at all those faces staring back at me. She's been telling everyone for 18 years that I abandoned them, that I walked away, that I chose my career over my child, that I wasn't man enough to handle the responsibility. I turned back to Lisa. I just donated $8 million to this university. I've paid $648,000 in child support over 18 years. I bought Kyle's car, his apartment, his education, his study abroad program in Tokyo. Yes, I paid for that too. $43,000 for a semester at Waseda University. My voice was steady now, calm, like I was in surgery, like I was making an incision. Clean, precise, controlled. And you took credit for all of it. You and Richard stood there and accepted my son's gratitude for things I provided. You let him believe you were his saviors while I was the villain who abandoned him. Dr. Foster stepped forward. There's actually one more document the university's legal team discovered during their verification process. She held up papers, official-looking, legal-sized. The divorce settlement, 18 years ago, filed in Massachusetts Family Court. Judge Patricia Wainwright presiding. She started reading. It stipulated that Mr. David Chen would pay child support in the amount of $3,000 monthly until Kyle Chen reached the age of 18, with provisions for college expenses to be split equally between both parents. She looked at Lisa. It also stipulated, in Section 7, Paragraph 3, that Mrs. Lisa Chen, now Lisa Patterson, would not disparage, demean, or misrepresent Mr. Chen to their son, that she would encourage a healthy relationship between father and son, that she would not interfere with visitation or create a hostile environment. Lisa's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Violation of that clause results in repayment of all child support received, plus interest calculated at the statutory rate of 5% annually. Lisa went white, whiter than Kyle had gone. $648,000 in base support, plus 18 years of compound interest. Dr. Foster did the math in her head. She was an engineer, after all. Approximately $973,000, due immediately upon judicial finding of violation. She paused. Let that sink in. The university's legal team will be providing this information to Mr. Chen's attorney, along with recordings of this speech. Yes, we record all commencement ceremonies, and affidavits from multiple witnesses including faculty members who've heard Mrs. Patterson make similar statements about Mr. Chen over the past 4 years. Lisa grabbed the podium to steady herself. Richard was standing now, trying to get to her, trying to, comfort her? Run? Mrs. Patterson, Dr. Foster continued, you've been telling people for years that Mr. Chen was a deadbeat, that he abandoned his son, that he didn't pay child support, that he didn't care. I have faculty members prepared to testify to that effect. I have parents from Kyle's freshman orientation who remember you making those statements. I have documentation of emails you sent to the university's financial aid office claiming Kyle had no paternal support. I didn't. You did. Dr. Foster's voice was ice. And now there will be consequences. I looked at Kyle one last time. He was staring at me, really staring, like he was seeing me for the first time. I never wanted this, I said quietly, just to him, not to the crowd. I wanted you to be happy. I wanted you to have everything I didn't have growing up. Stability, security, a father who was present even if that father wasn't me. I thought I was doing the right thing, letting Richard be your dad, staying in the background, writing checks and working myself to death so you'd never want for anything. But I wanted you, Kyle said, and his voice broke. I wanted my actual dad. I spent 18 years thinking you didn't care, thinking you'd chosen surgery over me, thinking I wasn't good enough for you to stay. You were always good enough. I was crying now, couldn't help it. 18 years of holding it in. You were everything. You are everything. Every surgery I performed, every shift I worked, every night I stayed up until 4 a.m., studying or researching or saving lives. It was all for you, so you could have this, so you could stand on this stage in that cap and gown and have your whole life ahead of you without the burden of debt or poverty or struggle. The auditorium was silent. 2,000 people watching a father and son see each other clearly for the first time in 18 years. Mr. Chen, Dr. Foster said gently, would you like to say anything else? I looked at Lisa, at Richard, at the life they'd built on the foundation of my sacrifice while erasing my existence. Yeah, I said. I have one more thing. I pulled out my phone again, pulled up my banking app, showed the screen to the audience. This is my checking account. Current balance, $873. This is what I have left after donating $8 million to MIT, after paying 18 years of child support, after buying Kyle everything he needed. I scrolled. This is my savings account, $12,000. That's my emergency fund, my retirement, my entire financial cushion. I looked at the crowd. I'm 52 years old. I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon at Mass General Hospital. I make $470,000 a year. I should be wealthy. I should have investments, property, a comfortable retirement fund. I turned to Lisa and Richard. Instead, I have less than $13,000 to my name because I gave everything to my son, while you, I pointed at them, built a life of luxury on my sacrifice. You bought a house in Newton. You drive a Tesla. You vacation in the Hamptons, all while telling everyone I was the deadbeat who didn't contribute. We didn't know, Richard started. You knew. I cut him off. You knew exactly where that $3,000 came from every month. You knew Lisa was cashing checks from me. You knew I was paying for Kyle's education. You just didn't say anything because it benefited you. Because you got to play the hero while I played the villain. I handed the microphone back to Dr. Foster. I'm done. I'm done being erased. I'm done being the deadbeat in the story Lisa tells. I'm done sacrificing everything while getting nothing in return. Not even acknowledgement. Not even a thank you. Not even the basic human decency of being recognized as Kyle's father. I started to walk off stage. Dad! Kyle's voice stopped me. Dad, wait! I turned around. He was standing now, walking toward me. He stopped 3 feet away. We stood there, father and son, strangers who shared DNA and 18 years of misunderstanding. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. I believed her. I believed everything she said about you. I thought you didn't want me. I thought you'd abandoned us. I know what you thought. It's not your fault. It is my fault. I should have asked questions. I should have tried to understand. His voice broke. I should have known you better. You were a kid. You believed your mother because that's what kids do. You trusted the adults in your life to tell you the truth, but she lied. Yes, she did. Kyle looked at Lisa, at Richard, at the people he'd called mom and dad for 18 years. Did you know? He asked them. Did you know he was paying for everything? Did you know he was the one funding my education, my apartment, everything? Lisa couldn't speak. Richard looked at his shoes. Answer me, Kyle's voice echoed through the auditorium. Did you know? We knew, Richard finally said. We knew about the child support. We knew about the college fund. We thought it was better if you didn't know. If you just saw me as your father. If David stayed in the background. Better for who? Kyle demanded. Better for me? Or better for you? No answer. Kyle turned back to me. Can we talk? After this? Can we go somewhere and talk? Really talk? I have 18 years of questions. I have 18 years of answers, I said. He smiled. Small, tentative, but real. Kyle Chen, Dr. Foster said into the microphone. Your father just exposed one of the most egregious cases of parental alienation I've seen in my 23 years in education. But he did it not to hurt you, not to embarrass your mother, not to seek revenge. He did it so you would finally know the truth. That's love. That's fatherhood. That's what it means to put your child first, even when it costs you everything. The audience started clapping again, slowly at first, then building, then erupting into a standing ovation that lasted 3 full minutes. Lisa and Richard didn't clap. They sat there, frozen, destroyed, as the truth of what they'd done, what they'd been complicit in, crashed down around them. The lawsuit came 6 weeks later, filed by Jennifer Martinez, attorney at law, 15 years specializing in family law, partner at Martinez and Goldstein. She'd contacted me 2 days after graduation. Mr. Chen, I was in the audience. I saw what happened. I'd like to represent you pro bono in recovering the child support payments your ex-wife violated the agreement to receive. I don't want her money. This isn't about money. This is about justice. This is about ensuring that other fathers who pay their support don't get erased, don't get turned into villains while their money funds someone else's hero narrative. She was right. We sued for $973,000. Lisa and Richard fought it, hired a lawyer, claimed Lisa didn't know about the disparagement clause, claimed she never spoke badly about me. Then Jennifer played the recordings, not just from graduation, from Kyle's high school graduation 4 years earlier, where Lisa had made similar comments, from freshman orientation at MIT, where she'd told other parents I was not in the picture, from a parents' weekend where she'd claimed I'd never contributed financially. All recorded, all documented, all violations of the divorce agreement. The judge, Honorable Patricia Wainwright, the same judge who'd presided over our divorce 18 years earlier, was not amused. Mrs. Patterson, you've spent 18 years violating a court order, 18 years erasing your son's father while accepting his financial support, 18 years building a life on his sacrifice while painting him as a villain. This court finds you in willful violation of the divorce agreement. She ordered Lisa to pay $973,000, plus legal fees, plus court costs. Lisa and Richard had to sell their house in Newton, downsize to a condo, sell the Tesla, cancel the Hamptons vacation house. It bankrupted them. I didn't feel good about it, but I didn't feel bad either. Kyle moved in with me 3 months after graduation. I got a job at Google, he said. Cambridge office. I can commute from your place if that's okay. It's more than okay. We were awkward at first. 18 years of distance doesn't evaporate overnight, but we talked. Every night. Over dinner. Over coffee. Over late-night conversations on my apartment balcony overlooking the Charles River. Tell me about my childhood, he said one night. The parts I don't remember. The parts before Mom turned you into a villain. So I told him. About reading him bedtime stories. About teaching him to ride a bike. About the time he got pneumonia at 18 months and I stayed up for 48 hours straight monitoring his breathing. About the day Lisa told me she wanted a divorce. About the custody battle I lost because I worked too many hours. About watching him grow up from a distance while Lisa slowly erased me. She told me you didn't want custody, Kyle said. She said you chose surgery over me. I fought for joint custody. I hired a lawyer. I showed up to every hearing. The judge said my schedule was incompatible with primary custody. That working 80 hours a week meant I couldn't be a proper parent. She gave Lisa primary custody and me alternating weekends. Then Then Lisa started making excuses. I was working too much. It was disruptive to Kyle's schedule. Eventually, the visits stopped altogether. Why didn't you fight harder? I did. For 3 years, I filed motion after motion, contempt charges, custody modifications. Everyone was denied. Eventually, my lawyer told me I was hurting my relationship with you more by forcing visits you didn't want. Lisa had convinced you I was the bad guy. You'd cry when you had to come to my apartment. You'd ask when you could go home. So I stopped fighting, started just sending money, showing up when allowed, trying to be present without forcing you to have a relationship you didn't want. I was 8. I didn't know what I wanted. I just knew what Mom told me. I know. But at the time, I thought letting you have peace was better than forcing you to have a father you didn't want. Kyle was quiet for a long time. I wanted you, he finally said. I just didn't know it was okay to want you. Lisa called me once, 6 months after the judgment. David, please. We're drowning. We can't make the payments. Can we work out a settlement? Can you just let it go? Did you let it go? For 18 years, did you let go of the narrative that I was a deadbeat? Did you ever once tell Kyle the truth about who was paying for his life? I thought I was protecting him. You were protecting yourself. Protecting your marriage to Richard. Protecting the life you built on my money while painting me as the villain. I'm sorry. You're not sorry. You're broke. There's a difference. I hung up, blocked her number, moved on.